Hello, how are you?
Hi, I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Did you receive my meeting agenda for this meeting and the other documents, the new policy and procedures and the implementation plan?
I did.
Did you manage to have a read through and understand it? Is there anything that I need to clarify before we start?
No, I had to read, and it's pretty straightforward.
Okay, yeah, just based on the agenda, we're going to do a quick introduction, which is done. So we'll talk about the purpose of the meeting. We'll discuss the policy, the implementation plan, the improvement tracking process, and hopefully we can finish off the meeting at the end with that.
Okay.
So based on the last meeting, I've managed to come up with a full and detailed like policy objectives and the procedures.
Mm-hmm.
So in terms of laws, regulations, and standards, our main focus, as mentioned before, occupational health and safety. We will focus on the following like main areas. So the hierarchy of hazard control processes, safety training and inductions, the use, storage, and maintenance of chemicals and equipment, hazardous substance information, such as long latency periods. When it comes to chemical control laws, we'll just look at chemical controls itself, chemical registers and materials, and manifests, industrial regulations, and lastly, public health.
Okay.
When it comes to environmental protection legislation, we'll focus on energy conservation, um, low environmental impact chemical usage, low moisture cleaning methods, low water use equipment, and water efficient cleaning methods, and non chemical cleaning methods.
Okay.
Lastly, with the waste disposal and management legislation, we'll focus on just recycling procedures, public health, and biodegradable waste management procedures.
Mm.
So, just based off these main categories and main points, I've come up with the following sustainability procedure for pest cleaning. It's pretty straightforward, pretty easy to understand. So, I'll read them as
Mm-hmm.
a list, one at a time. Pest cleaning will develop clear guidelines for staff and users to adopt sound environmental work practices, and adequate training will be provided to ensure these practices are carried out. This training will be provided prior to work commencement, and will be refreshed on a quarterly basis.
Okay.
Pest cleaning will act promptly and responsibly to collect um, correct incidents or conditions that endanger health, safety, or the environment. It will promptly report such incidents to relevant authorities and inform affected parties as soon as possible or appropriate. Um,
Okay.
Pest cleaning will reuse and recycle materials, purchase recycled materials, and use recycled packaging and other materials where possible. Pest cleaning will ensure that its services and products are safe, efficient in the use of energy, and protective of the environment and can be reused, recycled, and disposed of safely. Pest
Mm-hmm.
cleaning will, in its operations, minimize materials and energy use, prevent air, water, and other pollution, and dispose of waste safely and responsibly where possible. Um, Pest cleaning in its operations will conserve energy by improving energy efficiency and giving preference to renewable over non-renewable energy sources when possible. Pest cleaning will, where necessary, utilize its knowledge and experience to contribute to environmentally sustainable techniques, technology, knowledge, and methods. And lastly, all policies and procedures will be reevaluated and updated as necessary on a quarterly basis to ensure that the pest cleaning and in its operating is operating at a standard that best suits the environment and efficiently adheres to stakeholder expectations. So
Okay.
those are the main sort of points that are within the sustainability policy. So hopefully that was straightforward as well because you've already had a look at the draft. So
Yeah.
secondly, I'm going to talk about the implementation process. So basically, being environmentally sustainable as an organization means to seek to protect the environment, to conserve precious natural resources, and to minimize damage both internally and externally to the business. So
Yeah.
Press Cleaning aims to create a more sustainable business by understanding how the business affects the natural environment and improving on the current ways of practice to create an organization that will operate in a more environmentally friendly manner. So the goals and objectives to become more sustainable as follows: reduce all chemical usage by 50% and prioritize the use of natural, non-toxic cleaning products as soon as suitable sort of resources or replacements become available, because not everything is currently available for the market. Minimize electrical power usage in the workplace by turning off lights when night cleaning in areas that are not being used. Collecting paper, cardboard, plastic, and all glass waste for recycling purposes. Educate, train, and motivate staff to conduct their activities in a more environmentally aware and friendly manner. Now I'm going to talk about the steps to implement these changes.
Okay.
So possible changes will be communicated to all employees or stakeholders beforehand, and a meeting and a training session will be organized and provided. We will sort of aim to identify and email suppliers to provide the organization with materials that will meet our requirements where possible. These requirements include things such as recyclable bin liners, biodegradable cleaning chemicals, and recyclable like cleaning equipment. We will train and induct all employees about the new materials, how to use them, how to dispose of them, dispose of the waste correctly. All employees will be required to attend a physical training and be required to sign off on the new policies and procedures created by Perth Cleaning. And lastly, analyze the actions and the feedback of employees to ensure the new methods and procedures are being followed correctly and as stated in the new policies and procedures. So now we're going to talk about the possible barriers to implementation of this new sustainability policy. So number one, we have employee resistance. So some employees may not be willing to get trained and sort of relearn how to use certain equipment or certain chemicals. So that's a possible barrier. Secondly is lack of financial resources for the organization. So the Press Cleaning may not have the financial capacity to retrain and reinduct all the employees, introduce new systems and products, and implement new policies, because it's a big change, and typically all this biodegradable and more environmentally friendly equipment is quite costly because it's not that readily available to the market. And then lastly, there's the competing priorities of management. So some areas of management may prioritize the profits over the sustainability. So depending on how this sustainability policy is received, you might see a clash of heads between stakeholders within the organization. So we need a few resources that are required for implementation. So for energy conservation, this is not a strategy, as energy used by the organization is provided by by the clients on site, so we do not bring any sort of equipment to provide energy. So the best thing we can do as an organization is try and minimize the use of large equipment if it's not needed, and just go with the more physical or manual tasks. Green cleaning and biodegradable products. So these products include commercial grade cleaning products that are bought in bulk by the organization. They can be sourced from Enviro Products Australia. It's difficult to determine the costs because not all these products can be purchased in bulk from the same provider. So it's very difficult to come up with a budget or an estimated cost for you to be able to make that switch. Training all employees to use environmentally friendly products effectively can be conducted at Best Option Training. That's an online service in Perth. It provides online courses and certification for employees, and they'll be given the chance to obtain that. It will cost the organization $450 per employee to enroll and complete the training. In terms of implementation support for this procedure, obviously we will provide feedback channels to employees, such as surveys, weekly checkups when the policy is implemented. This will help the organization identify areas that may need improvement and suggestions from employees on how to make the transition process better. We'll communicate with the employees and give them background information to why the policy is being implemented. They should be given enough details to make the organization's position clear, while keeping the communication process short and simple. Employees can determine the best approach to introduce the policy to the employees based on the nature or ease in which it's understood by the workers. And lastly, policy should be reviewed on a regular basis to ensure they continue to comply with federal and state laws and the needs of the organization. New laws and regulations can affect both the policy language and how the policy is implemented and integrated into the organization. In terms of our continuous improvement plan, we will effectively and systematically collect, analyze, communicate, and use data related to the process and outcomes of the policy development and implementation. We will aim to build strong relationships amongst clients, sectors, and among individuals and organizations to adequately monitor the policy integration process. We will form groups or committees within the organization just focused on policy monitoring, obviously because it's a new policy. And policy monitoring should be conducted by all stakeholders and requires knowledge in different areas such as accountability systems, monitoring and evaluation, and data analysis. The time frame for tracking these outcomes, all employees will be monitored and communicated to on a weekly basis to understand their current positions on the new policies, identify any issues and areas in need of improvement, to offer support to the employees where needed. Quarterly reports should also be produced to analyze and track the data produced by the policy changes. So this data can be used to identify positive or negative changes in regard to the data that is comparable from the previous policies and procedures. And lastly, annual reports will be produced, which comprise of information about the company's activities, including quantitative and qualitative data, which can be used to compare past performance based on current and older policies and procedures. And lastly, we can talk about the possible unsatisfactory outcomes of trying to integrate this this new policy and procedure. So the complete adaptation of biodegradable and less chemical cleaning products, integrating that into Perth cleaning is most likely to prove very unsatisfactory. This is because these products are not yet readily available at a reasonable price that the company can sort of take on. So although there's many changes that can be made, it becomes pretty difficult for them to actually fully implement this. And in the case of conserving energy and using renewable resources, it will prove difficult for Perth Cleaning to adopt this policy since the energy used by the organization is produced on site. So to mitigate this problem, Perth Cleaning can alter its policy to say where possible, Perth Cleaning will minimize the use of electricity by minimal use of electrical equipment and ensuring all parameters and precautions are taken to reduce energy use over the course of working on a client site.
Okay.
In terms of reporting outcomes to stakeholders, we can use sustainability reports, which is aimed at like a multi-stakeholder audience in the forms of and forms an integral part of the company's overall stakeholder engagement and communication strategies. We can develop quality reports. This contain many features, which include a summary of the financial goals, highlights, and specific challenges and changes made to the organization operations. And lastly, meetings with stakeholders. Meetings improve project outcomes and they keep the team informed and build trust and empower them to guide the project and work together efficiently to actually attain the end goal. That's basically everything that is on the meeting agenda for today. So at this point, are there any questions at all?
No.
Okay. You were able to record the meeting minutes and you're able to send that to me as well?
Definitely.
Definitely. Okay, I think that's it. We can end here. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.